Hello, world. Brian here again. Welcome to my ministry. Um, I want to take a second here and just always say that we should remember God in our lives. Always give Him the glory in everything that we do. Sometimes we have a tendency to kind of get busy with our day, our week, whatever. You work during the day, you're doing the things that you do, and you're not really thinking about God. We have a tendency to kind of tuck Him aside, but He most definitely does not belong tucked aside. We should always at least have Him in the forefront of our thoughts and be thinking about Him throughout our day. And the main thing is to give Him the glory in the good things that we do because He deserves it. But anyway, what I want to do, I want to get directly to the point today. This episode is not so much science/religion, it's more religion than anything else. What I want to do is I want to talk about the Ten Commandments and kind of a broader stroke over the entire Ten Commandments. The subsequent episodes for a little while, I'm going to break those down. I'm going to really get into breaking down the Ten Commandments and getting into what they're all about. But right now, I want to start off by more of a broad stroke over the entire Ten Commandments, mainly because I know a lot of people don't know this, but did you happen to know that there are actually two sets of the Ten Commandments in the world? You don't really hear about that much, but there are the ones that were originally written by God in stone and given to Moses up on the mountain. And these are the Ten Commandments. These are the ones that were later translated into English for the King James Version of the Bible that we know today. However, there is also an alternate version, the one that I call the man-made version. And what this version is the Catholic version from the Catholic Catechism and is somewhat different from the original. Some of them are the same, are nearly identical, and there are others that are way off. But anyway, make no mistake, the ones that Catholics use, that Ten Commandments is not sanctioned by God, didn't come from God's hand. There is no new version, or there shouldn't be. And this one was definitely created by man. So question then becomes, who rewrote it? Who was it that rewrote the Ten Commandments, and when did this happen? So this is kind of one of the reasons I really appreciate history, is because as long as it's been recorded somewhere, and sometimes you got to sift through a lot of stuff, a lot of sand to find truth, but it's there. So you can always look up past truths that we might not otherwise know about. They're not always easy to find, but this one's out there. They don't really hide it. It's there. So what happened was, back in the 4th century AD, there was a guy who was a Catholic bishop of a place called Hippo in North Africa. His name was Augustine, and he was the one who came up with this new way of writing out the Ten Commandments, or presenting the Ten Commandments. Now, what he ended up doing, he dropped the second commandment altogether. And his reasoning, my guess is that his reasoning for that was to make it so that it's okay to use images, statues, items, relics, and that kind of thing in worship. God had forbid that in the second commandment, the original second commandment. This guy also changed the fourth commandment, which deals with the seventh-day Sabbath. And I'll get into all that as well. What happened then was, by removing the second commandment, it created a situation where he only had 9 commandments now. So he had to figure out how to get 10 again. And what he ended up doing was he split the 10th commandment into 2 commandments to make that so that they had an even 10 again. So at this time, right now, I just want to point out the differences between the 2 versions. So let's get started on that. So the 10 Commandments in the Bible can be in the King James Version of the Bible. The original 10 Commandments in English can be found in the book of Exodus in the Old Testament, chapter 20, verse 3, and continues through verse 17. The first commandment in the Bible states, and keep in mind that I'm probably going to do a lot of replacing of these and thous and thys from time to time. Make it like yous and yours to help it make it a little bit easier to digest and understand. So our English today is not what it was at that time. So anyway, the first commandment states, I am the Lord your God, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. And the Catholic version is similar to that, more condensed, but similar. And the Catholic version states, I am the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before me. Okay, it's not quite the same. It's worded a little bit differently. So like I said, we'll get into this a little bit more later. But the second commandment in the Bible, that one states, in the King James Version, states, you shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord your God, and I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Now, I'm looking at this like, this is a pretty long commandment, and this Augustine just removed it altogether. He just took it out. I would think, being as long as it is, you might think that it may be of some considerable importance. I know that I would. I believe that they had good reason for wanting to do that, and we'll get into that probably in the next episode, where I'm going to kind of break down the first and second commandments and how they relate to the Catholic version of this. So the third commandment now in the Bible, I'm going to say the Bible. When I say the Bible, I mean the King James Bible. So the third commandment in the Bible states, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. So yeah, I threw some thys in there. But anyway, the Catholic version, again, similar, very close, but not quite the same. And it states, and this is actually it's the third commandment in the Bible, but because the Catholics took out the second commandment, this one moved up to the second commandment. So their second commandment, the Catholic second commandment, states, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. So it's very similar, but a little more condensed, and doesn't say quite the same thing, even though it's very, very close. So this one moved up to the second commandment. So now we move on to the fourth commandment in the Bible. And that one states, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But in the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall not do any work. You, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Now this one is the longest commandment of all of them. Again, I would think that's of considerable importance. And he really went on to describe this in quite a lot of detail. It's basically saying you're not to work on the Sabbath day, the Sabbath day being the seventh day. And we'll get into all that later, but you're simply not to work on that day. The Catholic version of this commandment, and it's their third commandment, simply states, remember to keep holy the Lord's day. That's a considerable difference from the biblical version. And it makes no reference to the seventh-day Sabbath, none. And again, I'll definitely get into this and explore it much more deeply later. So the Bible's fifth commandment states, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God give you. So basically saying, honor your father and your mother. Give them respect, right? So the comparable fourth commandment, the Catholic fourth commandment, states, honor your father and your mother. That's it. Again, very similar, not quite the same. So, in case you haven't noticed, the Catholic versions of these commandments seem to be considerably more concise and leave a bit more room for interpretation, which could be why things get a little confused on these things today. The sixth commandment, as stated in the Bible, is thou shalt not kill. Okay, which in this case is nearly identical to the Catholic version. So I guess Augustine finally found a commandment of God's that he actually agreed with. The Catholic version, the fifth commandment, states, you shall not kill. So it's nearly identical. So the next couple are also very much like that. They're pretty much identical to one another, with the exception of that they are numbered differently because of the removal of the second commandment by Augustine. So the seventh biblical commandment states, thou shalt not commit adultery. And the Catholic, the sixth commandment, states, you shall not commit adultery. So adultery is one of those words that a lot of people don't really have a complete grasp of. They got a pretty good idea of it, maybe, but not a complete grasp. So this is another commandment that we'll explore more in depth later. Moving along, though, the eighth biblical commandment states, thou shalt not steal. And the Catholic seventh commandment states, you shall not steal. And onto the ninth biblical commandment. Now, the ninth commandment in the Bible states, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. And the eighth commandment, Catholic commandment, states, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. So you'll notice it doesn't say, thou shalt not lie. It doesn't say that. There is a difference between lying and bearing false witness, and we'll also explore that one in more detail later. So now on to the 10th biblical commandment, which is another one of those longer ones. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is your neighbor's. That's the 10th commandment in the Bible. So to finish things off here, where we have the Catholic 9th and 10th commandments, which is pretty clear to see, when looking closer at these, that they are actually the splitting of the original 10th commandment. So the Catholic version, starting with the 9th commandment, states, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife. And the 10th commandment states, you shall not covet your neighbor's goods. So you can tell, with those two, they are actually the splitting of the original 10th commandment. So doing this comparison between the King James biblical version of the Ten Commandments, which were translated from the original, and then comparing that with the Catholic version today, which was written by a man. It was changed by men. The Ten Commandments were never altered by God's hand. The Bible clearly states that God does not change. So he would not have instructed men to change his own words as he wrote them. Wouldn't have made much sense if he never changes. So this comparison clearly shows that there were some men who, in order to gain certain things that they wanted at the time, whatever those may have been, made certain changes to God's own commandments for their own benefit. As with pretty much all of history, when we're looking at it, we weren't there personally to ascertain what may have gone on back then. So there's no way that any of us could know what Augustine's or the church's motives were for these revisions. But, using a little common sense and doing my utmost not to be coerced by evil, I can certainly speculate and give my opinion on this, as controversial as it may be. However, it will only be my opinion that I'm portraying here, as it would stand to reason that it would be. So, as I will always state, never just simply take my word for anything. These episodes are meant to help you kind of get a glimpse into my perspective of things, but then I dearly hope that you will do your own research to determine for yourself what to believe. Maintaining an open mind, I do hope, of course. So getting to the end of this, I also need you to know that I have, in case the Spirit does move you to help out a little bit here, which I'm hoping, but if not, that's fine too. I've included a PayPal link It'll take you to a PayPal page where you can donate if you so choose. Every little bit does help. So if not, that's okay too. Please do like and share and follow and subscribe. You can do that on my YouTube channel. So please subscribe and pass this along to others. Share these messages. Others might get value from them too. The important thing here is that the messages in these episodes are always free to everyone. I'm not going to twist your arm to donate or anything like that. I do hope you will share, though. If everyone shares, we're all able to see it, and I hope that everyone will get something out of this. So the important thing here is that the messages in these episodes, they're always free to everyone, and this is as it should be, as God intended his messages to always be. And my goal is to help those who might otherwise not find him to find their way to God. So in the next episode, I'm going to be digging a little deeper into the Ten Commandments. We're going to start breaking down Commandments 1 and 2 of the King James Version of the Bible and comparing to the Catholic versions, and hopefully clarifying things a bit where they may seem to be a little bit ambiguous. So I will give you my thoughts on that next episode. So until then, be safe, be kind to others, love your family, love your friends, love those close to you, love God, love his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. Talk to God and talk to Jesus. Talk to them in prayer regularly. And while you're praying for yourself and your loved ones, remember to say something for those who are less fortunate as well. So until next time, you'll have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.